Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money with your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 384 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm here with a longtime friend of mine, prolific lady, Patricia Drain. And I got to tell you, this lady, she's like businesswoman of the year, really. And I forget where it is. I think it's for the whole universe. She's so great. So you'll see her in a minute, but she's got a new podcast and she's been living the life. And she actually built herself a business a while back that was just a really high paying job. So she's going to tell you she hated every second of that and wanted to get out of that. So listen up for Patricia here in a few minutes. Now, I hope you didn't miss episode 383. That's Angela Olfest. Her name was perfect for her. She has the voice of an angel, and with no formal training other than YouTube videos, and then she got herself a coach. She quit her dreaded job. 20 years she was at this job, and she started a voice narration business. And she's booked solid narrating audiobooks for people. So that's a very cool thing. And she said anybody can do it. You don't have to have a voice of an angel because they want normal people doing all these books, children's books and everything else. So it's a great side hustle, full-time income for her that replaced her pretty good paying job. All right, how'd you like to hear your own voice here on Screw the Commute? Well, if the show's helped you out at all in your business or given you ideas to help you start a business, we want to hear about it. Visit screwthecommute.com, look for a little blue sidebar that says send a voicemail. Click on it and talk into your phone or computer and tell me how the show's helped you. And don't forget to put your website on there so you can get a big shout out in your own voice on a future episode of Screw the Commute. Now, grab a copy of our automation ebook at screwthecommute.com/automate free. This is a $27 ebook that we give to you for free just for listening to the show. And just one of the tips, we actually estimated and figured it out, has saved me, listen to this, 7.5 million keystrokes. Okay, so this is, and that's just one of the tips in this book. This is all the stuff I use to react lightning fast to customers and prospects and steal business from people that are too slow to get back to inquiries. So check that out at screwthecommute.com/automate free. And while you're over there, pick up a copy of our podcast app at screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP. And you can put it on your cell phone and tablet and take us with you on the road. All right, folks, I've been selling on the commercial internet since 1994 when it started and living a lifestyle business, that best business I've ever been. I've been in 44 years in formal business, and this is the best one ever. So about 12 years ago, I decided to, ruin my life, I'd say, and go through the application process to actually get a school. So I have the only licensed dedicated internet marketing school in the country, probably the world. It's imtcva.org. It's certified to operate by SCHEV, the State Council on Higher Education in Virginia. But you don't have to be in Virginia to attend. It's a distance learning school, and it's not the crappy distance learning that all these universities are now, we have a distance learning program now. Yeah, well, you ought to see how pitiful they are, and the students are getting dumber every day. Well, mine's been operating right from the beginning as distance learning, so it's great. You can actually get good training distance-wise from home, and it's more obvious now than ever that you can legitimately work from home. And every business on earth needs the hardcore skills that I teach in internet marketing. So check it out at imtcva.org. And a little later, I'll tell you how you can get a scholarship to the school if you're in my mentor program. All right, let's get to the main event. Patricia Noel Drain is the author of 12 books to date, and she's the podcast host for From Passion to Profit. We're going to talk about a lot of that today. And she's a business mentor to entrepreneurs worldwide. And her latest book will be out for Valentine's Day. It's 100 tips for a happy, long-lived marriage. And that kind of puts a lot of pressure on her not to get divorced before Valentine's Day. That could ruin her whole book launch. So Patricia, are you ready to screw the commute?
The commute.
Yeah. How you doing?
Really am. Oh, you're good, Tom. You're good.
What have you been up to, kiddo?
If she can just stay married till Valentine's Day. Now, I swear to God, no wonder you were a stand-up comedian.
Well, you could ruin the whole book launch if you get divorced between now and then. So try to stay calm, keep everybody, sedate your hubby Tom, and just keep everything cool until after the book launch. Then do what you want. Well, some of those people that wrote those relationship books have been divorced like 4 times.
Yes, I know. Well, that's why I really hesitated, because of just that. And also it's like, why me? Why would I ever step out there and do that? And you know what? I finally thought, why not me? There's only 7% of us that get to 50 years of marriage without dying or divorcing. And I'm one of those 7%.
50 years? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to give you for 50 years? Like Scotch tape or,
something
paper?
Really, really expensive. I know
Okay,
that.
yeah.
It says that, really expensive stuff.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations. 50. Yeah. Like I said, make it a couple more months and we'll be good. So from passion to profit, I've known you a long time, and everything you do, people just love you, your clients, everybody just loves you, because you show your passion and you've lived it all these years. So, but I do want to take you back before we get into the Passion to Profit podcast and all that stuff you're doing now. But I do remember you talking about building yourself a very lucrative job that you just hated. Can you tell them about that?
Oh yeah, I'm still mad at myself because of it. But years ago, I was an executive recruiter, just learning the skill. And I loved working like that. It was so much fun interviewing people like yourself and then finding you a wonderful career. It just made my day. And so I knew that I was really good at that when I became the top producer of Arizona. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to open up my own. And what I did was I bought myself a great big job, because I became the manager. I was no longer the producer. I was the manager. And I just hated that job.
You mean you started your own firm and then babysitted all these recruiters, right?
I did it all wrong. I thought I was supposed to go in at 8 and come home at 6. And I really thought I was doing it right, and suit up every day and have meetings and, all that stuff, and babysit 28 recruiters that I had. And when I sold the last one, I had 4 of them. And by the way, I built them all the same, which is not a good thing for me. And when I sold the last one, I did say to Tom, I'm never going back in that brick and mortar again.
Yeah, that's her husband, Tom. Her husband, Tom.
Yeah, that's right. Her husband, Tom. Well, and you know what, Tom? The Screw the Commute is so... Well, of course, I wouldn't say it quite the way you say it.
Yeah, I know. You're too demure to talk like a country bumpkin like me.
Like a guy. But it's the truth. I couldn't bear the thought of getting in a car and getting dressed up and going into a building any longer. So I've been screwing the commute now for 15 years, I guess.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. But you'd have never made, you said you interviewed guys like me. You wouldn't have made any money on me. I never had a job.
I would have placed you as a stand-up comedian for sure.
Hey, I did apply for a job once. Did you know that?
Oh, no.
Yeah, it said it was 401k. And I thought, hey, that's a pretty good starting salary.
Oh,
400.
You're good.
401. So you sold that off though, right?
I'm sorry. I'm still laughing at the 401k. Now it makes perfect sense to me. That was really good on your part. You're so smart. So what did you say? I'm sorry.
I said, so you sold that business though, right?
I did. I sold the business, and certainly not for enough to live for the rest of my life. So I really had to search and figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. And, I wrote the book, What Should I Be When I Grow Up, now that I'm 40, 50, 60, and I still didn't know, because nobody helps us. Nobody teaches us. And so you got very lucky, Tom, at a very young age to really live your passion your whole life.
Yep, that's true.
You're very rare, very rare.
Gratitude. Every time, when you're in business, trust me, folks, it's not always smooth. There's some really bad things that can happen, but and whenever it does, I sit there and say, you know what? This is, no matter how bad this is, it's not as bad as it would be going to a cubicle and listening to all the gossip at the water fountain and having some nepotism boss telling me what to do or I have to punch him out. So that gets me over the hump. Now, you were a school teacher for a long time. And I got to tell you, the school teachers are taking a little bit of a rap nowadays because they won't go to class.
Poor people. We're just all going through such a difficult time. But yes, as a school teacher, that's when I first became very aware of when passion meets profit, because I could not believe when I got my first paycheck that I was paid to be with those children all day. I mean, it was such a joyful, pleasurable job to have.
You'd have to pay me to be with those children.
Yes, many people feel that way. But they were just delightful children. And seriously, I walked out of school one day and they picked up my first paycheck as a 21-year-old, and I looked at how much money I made, and I couldn't believe they didn't pay the children. They just paid me to be there. So that's how much I loved it.
You
yes.
didn't have metal detectors and stuff, and the kids were pulling knives on you and stuff?
Whole different ball game.
Where was it anyway?
It was in Montana.
Oh, well, no wonder. Yeah, they have
no wonder.
Civil in Montana. So you're a natural born teacher. Every time I see you at an event or something, you just can't help it.
No, I can't. And I think that has been my lucky star to be able to teach. And now I do it on a podcast, and now I do it from stage or on Zoom. But it's always about teaching. And I wondered, when I was doing those events, I always wondered that you spoke at, I thought, who are these people that are coming up on stage? Because they're kind of different when they get off stage. They're a different person. And I've never been a different person on stage or off, because I'm just a teacher. And you're the same. I've told Tom this many times, that I could count on one hand how many people were the real deal.
You used to have a business. This is another business that you had, which was a seminar business. So you went through a lot of speakers.
Yeah, 97, we had speakers on our stage, and Tom Antion was absolutely in the top 5 of who we always wanted to come back, because he is who he is. He tells you who he is, and that's who he is. But I couldn't believe the speakers were not that. They simply would sell something just to sell it. They didn't care if it helped anybody. Agree?
Absolutely, yeah. That's why I backed off considerably in the past few years. The pandemic has shut down a lot of that stuff, but I just wanted to take a shower and get on stage, because they would just make up a bigger lie to outsell the next person, and then they wouldn't come through with people. In fact, it had me start a business called Seminar Scammers, where I've got a Hollywood show in development called Scam Brigade to go after these kind of people, So that's not us. That's not you and I. So tell us about how the podcast is developed, how you got the idea for it, and what it's all about.
Well, I think it goes all the way back to when I was a teacher, actually, when those little children would come up and say, Mrs. Drain, I don't know what to be when I grow up, but can you help me? And I would look at them and say, sweetheart, you're only in the 2nd grade. You don't have to worry.
Hasn't been invented yet.
Yeah, really. I would be completely different now teaching, because the most important thing you can learn is about yourself and what you're good at, what you're not good at, and then you go have a happy life. But nobody teaches that. So when I finally owned my executive recruiting firm, they just got taller in their chairs and came in and said, Patricia, what should I be when I grow up? And now they were 40, 50, 60. And so I knew there was really something that I had to step into and do. So I've written books about it, and I've written programs, but I thought I'm going to add another niche to that this year, which is going to be a podcast, because I love interviewing people like you, Tom, that know your passion and that you have made a profit with your passion, and it's true, because I'm going to say 90% of the people do not think it's true or that it's doable.
Yeah, they're very skeptical, and rightfully so, because there's so many scammers out there, and sometimes by the time you figure it out, you've lost a lot of money. In fact, the old saying about if when you find the right one, it right away. You ever hear that? Well, how come when you find the wrong one, it takes you years of pain and suffering to figure it out?
Yeah, I don't know, but it does happen, doesn't it? Oh,
Yeah,
Lord.
so it makes I don't blame people for being skeptical with all the scammers out there, but the thing is, it's worth finding the good stuff so that I've heard you say lots of time you've never worked a day in your life since you
No.
started doing this stuff.
No, it's true. And that's what I say to people. If you can find your passion and literally make a living with it and start designing your lifestyle, you won't feel like you've ever worked another day in your life because you're doing what you love and you're helping people along the way.
Yeah, so you've got some guest lines up coming up.
I have already interviewed 8 people. I have 8 coming up this next week. I'm waiting to have Tom Ante on until I have some listeners. Right now I have 0, I think. And so when he comes on, it's going to be a really big parade. And I'll tell you why. It's because of who you are, Tom. You're my most valuable colleague out there.
Well,
And
thank
I
you.
say that in all sincerity because not only because you have a huge following, but because of who you are and the fact that you are truthful, you are the real deal. And so, yes, I'm building to you. That's kind of
Well, thank
you're
you.
my teaser.
Well, you definitely have at least one listener because I listened to to the first
Oh,
episode.
good.
I
We
left
have one
a rating
listener.
too. Everybody, when you listen to this, make sure you leave a rating and review for her. Hey, we forgot to turn off the video. I usually turn off the video, but I'm so excited to see you.
Oh.
Sarah, you were hidden behind the audio file here. So who are some of the people you got coming up?
Well, and the first time that I decided to go out to the people that I knew personally, friends of mine, that I have really found their passion, like Linda Benz, who you know. Linda is a girl that it took her years to really figure out her passion because every time she would go out and start doing something, she'd think, well, this can't be it because this is too easy. And then she'd do it again. And, oh, this definitely can't be it. And sure enough, it was always it. It was all around energy all the time, whether it was feng shui or whether it was the energy around money, whatever it was. She finally realized it was all about that. That one is so enjoyable and so funny at the end. I can hardly stand it. And then I'm interviewing Barb Bruno, and she is with LinkedIn, and she does a lot of classes there for people and extremely well known in that arena. And she's just fun to talk to. And do you remember Chef Nancy?
Sure.
She lives in Barcelona, Spain now.
Oh.
And so I interviewed her because she is no longer a chef. She lost her passion for that. And so she is now coaching people because she knows she wants to really help them find their passion. Do exactly what I'm doing. And then I started looking at some millennials I'd been talking to. So I started a few things with millennials on the move and found that they found their passion. And, they're 24 to 39 now. And so they got really lucky to be able to find their passion at this time. And so they just are telling their stories about maybe helping another person be able to find theirs. And to me, without having a tangible tool, I told you this, Tom, and you do it all the time. You're just a natural, tangible tool giver. But on my podcast, I do want that to happen so that you can walk away after you've listened to a full 30 minutes and know something and go do something on whatever this person is suggesting.
You're awesome. Yeah. So you've got 8 episodes, you say, in the can?
I have 8 done and 8 more coming up this week. So I
Wow.
wanted to ask you, actually, how many do you suggest to somebody out there starting a podcast? How many should they have?
Well, the reason the answer that I'm going to give you is fairly high is because one of the best ways to promote your podcast is to be on other people's podcasts, because the people listening obviously like podcasts, and then they can go join your podcast. So I actually had 50 in the can.
Oh, wow.
But that's because I wanted to not have to worry about it for 4 or 5 months, and I could totally just go do other podcasts to drive people to my podcast. But most of the time I say about 20, is great.
Okay.
So that the pressure's not on you. And if something comes up, you don't miss because you want to keep a regular schedule or people won't know what to expect. So 20 would be reasonable.
Okay. Tom, I just heard about I think there are two girls that are teaching or taking people on podcasts. And when I heard how much they were charging, they're charging $7,500 a month to do this. And I'm like, wow, good for you. And I suppose it's a great
they're booking
ROI.
people on podcast, right?
Yes. Hmm.
Okay, well, let me give you a tip. Okay.
Hmm.
Now that you have bit the bullet and got your own podcast, and everybody out there, if you have your own podcast, I'm going to give you gold right this moment. So instead of $7,500 a month, I get them to work for me for free.
Of course you do.
All right. So when they approach me to get one of their guests on my podcast, I have a piece of text that I send them right back, and I say, I'm currently only booking reciprocal interviews. So if your guest has a podcast and is willing to have me on, then I'll book them on my podcast if it makes sense for both of us. And I just send it off. So they're desperate to book their person that's paying them $7,500 a month.
Oh.
So they'll do anything to get them a booking. So they go to the people that have podcasts that match my credentials so that, I don't want to be on some show that I'm not appropriate for, and vice versa. So they end up getting me bookings for free.
Okay, that's brilliant. I swear. I've got these things written down now. You're brilliant on the 401k. I cannot get over the 401k story. And now it's this, because now I'm not going to share that with those girls that are selling $7,500, but I'm going to pay attention to what you're doing and copy you.
Well, I mean, it really doesn't hurt them to know about it, because they might start looking, be able to get more bookings for their clients that have podcasts. So there's nothing, and I don't feel like I'm taking advantage of them. I'm doing them a favor.
That's right. You are.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
So I want to give them something for free here, and then we're going to take a brief sponsor break, and then tell them about all kinds of good stuff you have for them there. So you've got a thing. You've been doing a lot of internet marketing since we met. So you have a thing called 10 top subject lines that get your emails opened, right?
Yes.
All right. So that's a cool thing. Where do they find that?
That's on my site, patriciadrain.com.
patriciadrain.com. We're going to have everything in the show notes, because she's got a bunch of other stuff that you're going to want to go check out. So Patricia Drain, Drain, is the spelling of it for you. So it's not Drane. And 10 top subject lines that get emails open. All right, so we're going to take a brief sponsor break. When we come back, we're going to see some other cool sites that Patricia has, and we're going to see what's a typical day look like for her and how she stays motivated. All right, folks, about 22 years ago, I kind of turned the internet marketing guru world on its head, in that guys like me were charging $50,000 or $100,000 to teach what we knew. And I knew a lot of these people. If you gave them $50,000 up front, you'd be looking for them in Mexico or something, because they'd run off with your money. It wouldn't help you. So I kind of made them all mad in that I charged a relatively small entry fee, and then a percentage of your profits that's capped. So you're not stuck with me forever. And so for me to get my $50,000, you have to net $200,000. Well, 1,700 plus students later, it's still going strong. This is my mentor program, greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. It's the longest running, most unique, most successful internet marketing mentor program ever. And how do I say that? Well, uniqueness. Well, you spend an immersion weekend here at the Great Internet Marketing Retreat Center after the pandemic's over, of course. And it's one-on-one. You get total access to me and my entire staff on a one-on-one basis. So you're not lumped in with people more advanced or less advanced than you. So that's unique. Nobody at my level will even talk to you. And then we also have a TV studio next door. So we shoot tons of marketing videos for you, edit them, put the graphics on, and give you the finished product. Some of these have gone for $700 as the seminar price, where they were the retail price was $1,500 for just one of them. Well, we haven't had anybody get out of here without at least 10, and some have had as many as 50. Also, you get a scholarship to my school if you're in the mentor program, that you can either use yourself or gift to someone. We had a guy spend $80,000 on his daughter's crappy education, and she's working a crappy job. And he gifted the school to her, and she's now up to $6,000 a month and only been in the school 4 months. So this is hardcore skills that everybody needs. So check out the greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. Give me a call. I'm no high pressure here. We can talk about your future online. And you can also, if you had the scholarship to that school when you had young people in your life, it's one of the best legacy gifts you could ever give them. So check it out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. All right, let's get back to the main event. Patricia Drain is here. She was businesswoman of the year of the universe, I think.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Where was that? Arizona?
The universe. Yeah, it was Arizona.
Yeah, the universe. Well, that is the center of the universe. Lately, you've got a site called Your Gift is Your Niche. Tell us about that.
Well, the reason I created that was the same reason I wrote What Should I Be When I Grow Up, now that I'm 40, 50, 60, because I could see all the people coming into my office day after day not knowing what to do. So I thought, okay, the book is helpful for sure. It's a great tool. But the course, Your Gift is Your Niche, is really helpful because it not only helps people discover their gifts, their talents, their skills they came in with, but it also helps them, shows them, I should say, how to monetize. Because most people don't realize that you can make money with your gifts and your talents that you already have. You don't even have to learn anything. You do need tools and techniques, just like Tom was talking about at his school, because you can educate a person, just like this man educated his daughter. And then I feel so bad because I watch it happen every day. I bet he spent $100,000 on that education.
But $80,000 was just tuition, but 4 years out of the workforce, plus living expenses and all this stuff. Yeah.
And then they go get a job and they hate the job and they're not making the kind of money that they thought they were going to make. It happens to so many people.
They're competing for jobs at Starbucks.
Yes.
You got MBAs competing for jobs at Starbucks. So
yeah, it's so sad to me. So I decided I want to make a really affordable, downloadable digital product where somebody can literally go through and dissect their gifts and talents, and then they go to the next step, and then they learn how to monetize that gift and talent, and then they come out on the other end. And I've probably put 1,000 people through this now, and just nothing but success story after story, because nobody gave them the time to just sit and talk about themselves and think about themselves and what they really love to do.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So it's Your Gift is Your Niche. Now, if you're from the good side of the tracks, it's niche, I guess. From the other side of the tracks. And so check that out. And then you have also When Passion Meets Profit. That's the podcast site, right?
That is, and that's not complete yet, but When Passion Meets Profit is going to house all of my podcasts as I continue to do them. It's also going to serve as a blog because I just want to start writing a lot of things about passion and profit. And a lot of times, I don't know if you know this, Tom, because you've always made a lot of money, but a lot of people are very embarrassed to give themselves permission to make money with what they already know. Have you run into that?
Fear of success, yeah.
It's really sad, but I think
I actually have the solution to that. I just tell them, give me the money. So you can take all the stress off yourself. I don't want them to be stressed out with all this money, give it to me.
I do want to go back for just a second with you and say to you, when were you a stand-up comedian? How old were you?
Oh, it was from 1988 to 1994, something like that.
Oh, you were a long time.
Yeah.
Well, are you just a natural? When you're a stand-up comedian, are you people just naturals?
Well, when you're fat, as a kid, it's a mechanism to keep from being teased. And I mean, there wasn't as much bullying and stuff back in the way back, but it's a mechanism that you want to be accepted. So most of us have really poor psychological profiles. so, so yeah, it was starting very early. I started to see things
Hmm.
differently than other people, and it's
Hmm.
carried on for ever since. Yeah.
Well, it's proof on this particular interview. I mean, the way you see everything and the way you're talking right now, I literally had to stop. I was laughing so hard after the 401k. I had to just stop. I didn't even hear what you said.
Yeah, well, you've seen me speak in person too, and that's
Hmm.
part of the thing. I
Hmm.
mean, they kind of expect entertainment value along with your good
Yes.
information, and
Yes.
that's part of the success. But I did it over 1,000 comic performances to get that.
Oh.
But I teach that too. But see, that's the other thing is, so I'm passionate about humor and fun, and so
Hmm.
I have courses how to make people laugh. So no matter where you are, you can get better at it, and you don't
Hmm.
have to be a stand-up comedian to be able to profit from entertainment. In fact, when I was lived in D.C., Patricia, they had a thing called the Washingtonian Magazine. This is before the internet, and in the back of it was personal ads, little classified ads. So I decided to do a study one time, and so I collected the magazine every month, and I counted the ads, the total number of ads, and then I counted the ones that said they wanted somebody with a sense of humor. 70+% of all those ads over a couple years wanted a person with a sense of humor.
I'll be
So
darned.
it's worth developing this if you want to have that happy, long-lived marriage, or even
That's
get
true.
married in the
It's
first
one of
place.
the number one tips that I would say in that book was you have to have a sense of humor. You have to be able to laugh with each other. And I bet out of all the people I interviewed for that, 90% of them said that same
Hmm.
thing. You just have to be able to laugh with each other. So you're
Yeah,
right.
and nowadays, I mean, I saw in the news, millennial kind of women, age group women, can't find guys to marry.
Mm,
The guys can't do anything. They're all soy boys, they call them. You know, they're good friends
mm,
and they're good for
yeah.
going to shop fabrics with. They don't want to
Wow.
marry them. So but that makes it good for older guys. You know, they got more chance now. So so anyway, when passion meets profit is there, and so what's a typical day look like for you nowadays?
Well, years ago when I wrote What Should I Do When I Grow Up, I wanted to share the 7 ingredients that were really important to me at that time. And the reason I want to share them, when you say to me, what's a day like? It's because I have all of these 7 ingredients now. So here's what they were. Number one, I needed a professional environment. That was really important to me. Number two, I wanted flexibility in my schedule because I wanted to go to the boys' games if they had one.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, I wanted unlimited income potential. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I started working straight commission. Ha.
Mm-hmm.
Number four, I wanted the opportunity to really help people. Number five, I wanted to use my communication skills. Number six, I wanted an environment that I could feel very productive. And then number seven, I wanted my location 15 minutes from home. Well, that was impossible. I lived in Scottsdale and drove down to Phoenix, but now I have all 7 of these ingredients and I couldn't be happier. And that's what my day looks like because I always have fresh flowers all over the place. I always have, when it's finally the end of the day, I turn on music so that I have something different during the day. I really work this like a home-based business, of course, but I've had so many friends say, I don't know how you work at home because I'd be doing the laundry, they said, they'd be doing dishes. No, you take it very
Do you
seriously
get
when you're
dressed for
home
work?
and you get dressed. Well, now I do know people that get dressed in high heels and suits at home, and I
Right.
don't do that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't do that.
All right. So let me look at these again. A professional environment, flexible schedule, unlimited
Hmm.
income. You want to be able to help people. What was the next one? CO. It started
Use of communication skills.
communication skills. Be productive, and less than 15 minutes away.
Hmm.
Beautiful.
Hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I really got very clear on that because and that's one thing, if I could say this to anybody listening, is get clear on what it is you need in a job. Not necessarily what you want, but what you really need, what makes you happy and lights you up. And then you can go out and maybe find your passion a little bit easier.
So the professional environment, though, don't you miss all the office gossip and the backstabbing and stuff?
And yeah, you
That's
know,
a
Tom,
professional
when
environment.
you were saying that a little while ago, that is truly what I don't miss. I would go because I was the top producer there, and so I was very serious about it. And everybody would be in my office all day, and they'd be drinking water right outside my office, and then they'd come in and just, you know, land down on a chair and start talking. And I wanted to work, so he finally told me I could work from home 3 days a week because I just became a bigger producer.
Right,
You know,
right.
so yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So what? This next question may not make sense. Like, I mean, it seems if you got all these 7 things that light your fire,
Mhm.
it seems like it's intrinsic motivation. I mean, I was going to ask you, how do you stay motivated? But
Yeah, I don't. I was saying that to a girl yesterday that I was talking to. I said, "What motivates you?" And I had to then turn it around for me because I'm not motivated by putting a number down that I'm trying to reach. That's never motivated me. Even with weight, that's never
yeah,
motivated me,
but
you
you
know.
did put a number down, 7.
Oh yeah. Okay,
That's what I
that's
mean.
right.
You fulfill those 7 things. It
Uh-huh.
seems to me
Mhm.
that would be motivating.
Yeah, that's a good point that you just said. So but I finally came up with what it is for me is if I really can communicate with people, and it doesn't have to be in person at all, then that's kind of what motivates me. And look at what I'm doing right now with
Hmm.
you,
Yeah, yeah.
you
We
know.
we talk to each other, a couple times a year, and it's great. So thanks so much for coming on. Boy, I'm thrilled about your new podcast. It's When Passion Meets Profit. That's the actual
Mhm.
name of it, right?
Yes, it
And
is.
it's on iTunes and all the places you can listen to podcasts, right?
Yes, it is.
All right, so folks, I want you to go check it out and leave a nice rating and review for Patricia. Um, and like I said, I listened to the first episode; it was great. Now, she introduced herself like I did on my first episode, but still, there was a tool at the end. We won't tell them what it is; they got to go listen to it to find out. And we're all crossing our fingers. We're going to say a prayer so that she stays married until at least the book launch. Okay, I got my fingers crossed for her. So thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Tom. It's been my pleasure. Trust me.
All right, everybody. We will catch you all in the next episode. Check out the show notes for patriciadrain.com where you can get a freebie. Your gift is your niche. That is a great place for an online course. It's an online course, right?
Yes, it
Yep.
is.
And When Passion Meets Profit is her podcast, and that site will be up in about a week or so, but keep it written down and it will be in our show notes. All right, we'll catch everybody on the next episode. See you later.